Welcome back to another episode of The Cut, episode 4. I'm here with my friend Steve Harris, one of the most genuine dudes I've had the pleasure of interacting with. College brought me a ton of great people. Steve is one of them. Steve, how you doing, man?
Appreciate it, Max. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
There you go. You're actually overseas in Europe right now, right?
Yes, sir. I am in Luxembourg currently.
Because you are a professional basketball player over in Europe after you had a fantastic college career at East Stroudsburg, and we'll touch on that, as we go on. But currently, we're going to work backwards a little bit. You're in Luxembourg. This is your third European season.
Yep.
Obviously the pandemic and all that has gotten kind of things out of whack. What have
Yeah.
you noticed in 3 years of Euroball compared to the 4 years of 5 years of college ball? Like, what's the biggest
Yeah.
difference?
The European game is just different, and it's tough to understand until you get over here and see it. A lot of the basketball in America these days is you find like your one or two best players, and they'll create by like getting in gaps and driving, and they're very ball dominant most of the time. And then you get your kickouts to your shooters or your lunges to your big men. Europe is a lot more team oriented, a lot more set oriented. Coaches want you to run your sets. They want you to run your plays. Um, I've noticed a lot of times the American guards that come over that are used to being ball dominant have a little bit tougher transition into the European game. Luckily, with ESU and Coach Wilson, as I'm sure you remember, we were a very spread the ball kind of team.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I was already a little bit kind of seasoned and trained on how to fit in nicely into European basketball. But yeah, it's just more of a much more of a team oriented game. There's a lot more heavier emphasis on like the coaches and all that stuff. Like a lot of times in Europe, the coaches are seen as like the heads of the team and the programs and like the stars. Um, Whereas obviously in America, it's all about the players. So yeah, it's much more of a team game, much more defensive oriented too. A little bit slower. You don't really score as high points most of the time. Like you score like 70, 80 points in a game, that's normally pretty good.
Hmm.
So mostly that
That's
kind of
interesting.
stuff. Yeah.
And culturally, how is it different? Because obviously the biggest difference is the language barrier, obviously.
Yeah. hmm
But between American sports and elsewhere, it's a whole different world, right?
Yeah, definitely. Not as much trash talking as
Really?
the states. It kind of throws me off sometimes. Like when you play against like a European player, every so often, like I'll make like a nice move or something, and I'll like finish, and they'll be like, "Hey man, good move." I'm like, "What?" Whereas like when I was in college or whenever I play anywhere, especially in the Northeast, like Jersey and New York and Philly, like it's all
It's that
trash talk.
Northeast attitude, yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely a little bit of adjustment for sure with the culture. And then yeah, like you said, the language barrier is definitely a little tough. Um, I remember the first practice we had when I was in Holland, my rookie year. I walked into the locker room. The other American wasn't there yet. He got there a couple days after me, and I sat there for the first 30 minutes waiting to walk out, and no one spoke to me. Everyone was speaking Dutch. I kind of just sat there and looked around. I didn't have a phone plan yet, so I couldn't like sit on my phone and kill time. I literally just like looked at my shoes, looked around. I didn't know anybody yet. Um,
Oh,
so that the
jeez.
language can be a little tough, but obviously like after a while you start to like pick up a little bit of the language here and there. Um, I picked up a decent amount of Dutch when I was in Holland, and then when I went to Switzerland, they were speaking a lot of French, and they speak a lot of French here in Luxembourg as well. And I don't understand French at all. French is a different type of language, man. They just be mumbling words, and it's
Oh
nuts.
man. Yeah, they
Yeah,
tell you to take language in high school and college, but no one ever wants to take French. Let's be real.
yeah, no. I think I took Italian in high school, so
Yeah.
maybe if I go to Italy one day, I'll be a little bit more prepared.
Well, you're Italian, right?
No, I'm a Irish Canadian, German Canadian, French
I thought you were
Canadian.
Italian for some reason.
No, zero Italian, zero Italian.
Because usually people take Italian because that's their background, it's their heritage.
Yeah.
Because I took straight up
I
Spanish,
didn't.
man.
Yeah, I didn't want to take Spanish because everybody was taking Spanish, and like I always like to
Mm,
be different somehow. And
right.
also my childhood, like one of my best friends from my childhood, his aunt was the Italian teacher at our school. So I was like, all right, like, I don't want to take Spanish and I know the Italian teacher, like I'll just try to take Italian. So
Nice little
Italian.
easy grade there just in case, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Um, you picked up Dutch, but not French.
No, no French, zero. I could say ça va, which I think means like how are you? And then like someone says they say something back and I'm just like bien, which means like good. And that's all I got.
So
All I got.
is that a problem with your teammates or even the coaches even trying to
No, no.
understand?
So in Luxembourg, everyone speaks pretty good English, honestly. And even in Holland they did. Everyone speaks English for the most part. A lot. What I'm starting to realize over here is, all these countries they pick up English as like their second or third languages because it's so universal.
Right.
Um, Last year when I was in Switzerland, I had a couple ex-Yugoslavian teammates, so like Croatians and Serbians and Bosnians,
Right.
and that was tough because the language barrier was thick there. That was extremely broken English. They would always tell me to speak slower because I got that Northeast in me where I'll just start rattling off words.
Yeah.
That was tough. But yeah, over here this year, no problems at all. It's just like they'll switch back and forth between Luxembourgish and English. So, it's a lot of times I don't know what they're talking about, but I assume if they're not speaking English, it doesn't concern me.
Or maybe it does, and you just don't want to know.
Yeah, that's so.
What is something that you've really picked up while you're over in Europe? Because you spent about 3 years there now, or in your third year.
Mhm.
And obviously, anytime you're in a new area, you're bound to learn new things and stuff. So, what's like the one thing that you picked up while you're in Europe?
Um, it's just being very self-dependent. Being very independent. When you're over here, it's a tricky business. There's definitely a dark side to professional basketball. They bring Americans in and they know that we're not going to be long-term solutions, but most of the time we're here for a season or two. So you kind of got to watch your back a little bit. Something I learned, especially last year in Switzerland. The club I'm in here right now in Luxembourg and my club back in Holland, they were fantastic. They took care of me. But definitely last year I learned that you got to kind of be careful and watch your back for yourself. And then just being by yourself a lot. Um, Everyone I know is 4,000 miles away and 6 hours behind me for the most part. So I have a couple friends I've made over here through basketball, and Rashid Moore. I'm sure you remember Rashid. He's in
Yep.
Germany right now, not too far from me, so we talk all the time. Um, but definitely just being a lot more independent. Learning how to travel by yourself, learning how to do everything for yourself. It's definitely something that I've gets taken to a new extreme when you're over here because there is no
Right.
safety net.
Right. 'Cause
When I was in
college teaches you
Stroudsburg,
one thing. Yeah.
yep, yep, yeah. So that's definitely something I picked up.
Yeah. I know Stroudsburg teaches you one thing and then life teaches you another, as we all know about great old East Stroudsburg.
Yeah, well, like in Stroudsburg, if like something goes wrong, my parents were an hour and 40 away in Jersey. I had Coach Wilson and Coach Cobb or early on Coach Potts, and they were really like when you get recruited in college, like a big family atmosphere. Um, the family atmosphere over here is a little different because it's a job. It's like I said, I was saying earlier, we're only here for a season or two. Whereas in college they bring you in to be part of that like alumni base and grow the family. Like I still talk to a lot of our ESU peoples. Um, so I have that. There's that safety net there. There's that, but there's just not when you're over here. You're just on your own. Yeah.
Uh, is there any like foods that you feel like you didn't think you'd like when you went over there? Like that, like food wise.
Yeah. Kebab. I love kebab. Like the Greek falafel stuff, like it's like the gyro stuff that like they hang. Man, my team in Switzerland, we were sponsored by a
Oh
kebab
no.
restaurant. So Monday through Friday, we could go there. I think actually no, it was every single day. We could go on the weekends too. Every single day for one meal, we could go to the kebab place and get a kebab or like any type of like that, stuff they have on the menu there. Wow, that stuff is good. Never thought I'd like it. It's got like that like yogurt sauce in it, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the onions, and like this weird mystery meat that I'm not even sure what it is. But that shit slaps. It's good, bro.
Oh
That's
man,
definitely good.
something you didn't expect
Oh
to
yeah.
like, huh?
No, no, I'm a pretty picky eater. Pretty picky eater. So that was my first time trying it. I was very suspicious. But oh yeah.
There you
Not the
go.
best for you though. You gotta watch when you eat it. You can't eat it every day.
Right,
Put
'cause,
on a couple pounds really fast in
and
Switzerland
and it's
because
your
I was like, all
job
right.
too. You got to make sure you're in shape for your job. Damn, that sounds good.
Well, the good thing
Um,
is I burn a
yeah,
lot of calories. So, 2 practices and a lift a day. That'll get you to sweat through a lot.
you guys did 2 days.
Yeah, well, the morning practices are like more like skill development, like shooting, ball handling, and stuff like that. And then I'll go and get a lift afterwards, and then kind of hang out in the afternoons, and then evening practice at night, which is just full on basketball practice.
Interesting. So speaking of basketball, let's get right into it. Your rookie year, you played 34 games. That's solid minutes playing as like a rookie coming over. Average
Yeah,
27 and a half minutes per game. Shot 52% from the field, 6.1 rebounds per game, and 13.8 points per game. The biggest adjustment you had to make that year in order to put up those numbers was what?
yeah. Um, I would just say the size and the physicality for sure. You know, uh, I was one of the bigger dudes in the PSAC, definitely strength and size wise.
Right.
And then when I got over to Holland, I was our four-man, and
Really?
we had there's like 7-footers everywhere. So that was learning to shoot your hook shots a little bit higher. Um, I had to change my game a little bit, playing the four spot. Definitely shot a little bit more from the outside. Became more of like a slasher attacking. Um, so I think that was a big adjustment for me in Holland. And then also too, like going from being like the guy in my last year in college back to being more of like definitely one of the guys, but definitely like more of a role player at the same time. The game wasn't necessarily flowing through me. So that was definitely a big adjustment for me in Holland. But I loved it, honestly. You know, and then last year in Switzerland too, like I had 2 7-footers on my team in Switzerland, 3 7-footers on my team in Holland. Um,
Jeez.
and it's just like kind of fun, honestly, to like stand there and like be like the shorter guy for once in my life,
Now you
you
know how
know?
we all felt standing next to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like that though. And it's like challenging in practice, to every day be going against these dudes who are just bigger and stronger than you and finding different ways, different angles, figuring out what moves work, what don't, where your counters are, then having to defend them on the other end, you know, because just standing behind them and walling up isn't going to do anything because they're already bigger than me. So 3-quartering, playing defense before they get the ball, all those things became more of an emphasis than they were in college for me. So the challenge of that every day I think was really good for me. Definitely helped me improve my game, and I always thought I was a physical player, but definitely coming over to Europe and realizing that they're grown men. Like I came over and I was 23 years old, and there's this one guy, and I forget his name, was like Drasko Pakalic or something like that, from Croatia. Really nice guy, by the way. But he was like 33, 7 feet tall, and just like strong as an ox. And like those are my matchups. So like those kind of things you have to learn how to deal with.
So
But
you
it's
pretty much
fun.
got
Like,
bullied down there, huh?
yeah, well, I hold my own a little bit.
Well, in the beginning,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So, like in situations like that, I always feel like if you're bigger than me, I'll be a little bit faster than you. But if you're smaller than me, I'll just be stronger than you. So, like in those situations, I had to learn how to start attacking laterally versus just backing people down, you know?
right?
So, like I said, like the challenge of that kind of stuff, I really, really enjoyed a lot.
Now, and you said something to me back then. Obviously, we've known each other for quite a few years now. Um,
Oh, yeah.
you said something to me back then about how it's different levels of basketball and the different leagues.
Mhm.
Where does that Dutch league that you played in? You played for Den Helder, right? Or did I say that
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where
Yes,
does that league rank? Uh, Kind of in Europe.
It's probably somewhere in the middle, right? It's not too high, not too low. The thing about that league was there were 4 top teams, who have much larger budgets, and they play this thing called FIBA Euro Cup. So like they won't just play the domestic league; they'll play in teams from all different countries and like a tournament types like bracket kind of
Right.
thing. So there's like pool play, and then you come out of your pools and stuff like that. Um, so there were those four top teams, and then the bottom six teams only played domestic. And so I was on a team that only played domestically. So our budget was much smaller. We filled in some of the gaps in our team with youth players. So like there is no high school basketball in Europe.
Really?
So if no, there's no you don't play for your school, you play for clubs. So if you're 16 or 17 or 18 years old, up and coming, you join a club and you play for the just alongside the professionals. And a lot of times on the better teams, those guys won't play as much. So they'll go to the smaller clubs in their domestic leagues, and that's where they'll get their minutes. Um, so like two of our 7-footers in Den Helder were 18 years old. So
Jeez.
and so that kind of stuff is a little different. Um, so yeah, so those top four teams in Holland are pretty good, pretty well respected, and then the bottom teams only really played domestically, and that's kind of where I got my start.
So it's kind of one big league, just kind of separated by the top four do more, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, their budgets were much bigger than ours. The quality of their players were much different. Like I was a 23-year-old rookie coming out of Division Two.
Right.
Meanwhile, other teams would have like 27-year-old guys who have been floating around Europe for years. So the quality of player you're looking at is a little different. The budgets are drastically different. Expectations are different.
Did you
Um,
play against those teams?
oh yeah, yeah. We played. So we played like we would only play domestically. So those top four teams would have our schedule, which we played, and they'd also on top of that have the FIBA Euro Cup. So they would then go and play probably like I don't even know what it would be, like 10, 15, 20 extra games,
So to
depending on how
essentially translate to American sports, they have their conference schedule and then their non-conference schedule.
perfect. Great job.
It pays to know a little bit there. Interesting. So you only played in
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah, we only played our little in conference games. Same thing when I
Interesting.
was in Switzerland.
Yeah, I was going to say in Switzerland you played for Riviera, right?
Yep, Vevey, Riviera Baskets.
And you only played 11 games, averaging 28 minutes per game. Shot better actually, 59%. 7.3 rebounds a game, 17.6 points per game. Obviously, 11 games, small sample size. But you actually told me
Yep.
something I didn't know earlier. You got hurt right before the whole thing started, so you couldn't even play
Yeah.
the second half of
So
that season.
I got hurt the day before Christmas in a practice, and the training staff thought that it was just back spasms. So I kept playing, and we had a game after Christmas. And then we had like a little bit of a break for like 5 days or so. Um, Came back, played another game or so, and I was just telling the staff like, "Hey man, like this doesn't seem like it's back spasms." So finally, they sent me to get an MRI on January 10th, and we got the results back a few days later. And sure enough, it was a herniated disc in my back. So I got shut down probably about a month or two right before the pandemic hit. The club and I came to an agreement that they were going to send me back to the States. This is before the pandemic like stuff came down. They were going
Right,
to send me back to the States to do my rehab because a back rehab is like 2 to 3 months at best.
right.
Um, so instead of me just hanging out in Vevey, they were going to fly me back to the States. I was going to do my rehab there, and then once I was good, they were going to fly me back out to finish out the season for like the playoffs and stuff. So I got back to the States. A week or two goes by, pandemic hits. So league got shut down. So honestly, it was kind of a blessing in disguise because I got home before the craziness of like the coronavirus stuff. Because I know some people who got stuck in Europe for sure. Even like I said before, my boy Rashid Moore, he was in Germany. I think if he would have flown out one day later, he would have gotten stuck. Like he was like that close
Wow,
to like getting stuck in Germany.
wow. And he
So
would have been.
kind of a
He still
blessing.
would have been there too.
Yeah, I would have been stuck there, and God knows how long I could have been stuck over there in Vevey for. It could have been months before travel was lifted to go back to the States. So
Crazy, man.
yeah.
Now, what was it like living in these areas? Everybody talks about, oh, Switzerland's so nice. Were you near all those tourist spots?
Yeah, I was on I forget what the name of the lake. It's like Lake Geneva. So it's like the southern part of the country. Absolutely beautiful. When I first got there, they didn't have my apartment in the city ready. So I was living up on a mountain house. It took me like 35, 40 minutes to get to practice. Um, but I was living on top of a mountain, which was sick. So I literally opened up my door. Like I had these French doors in my bedroom. And I would open it up and I would be on top of a mountain. Um,
Insane.
it was honestly it was spectacular. The views were stunning, and there was like a little village in the valley below us. So like at night you'd see all the lights and stuff. The stars were beautiful. So I got like 2 months of that, which is really cool. And then they moved me down into the city eventually, which was great because I was right in the middle of like a bustling European city. There was a beautiful lake. You would look across the lake, and there were the French Alps, so I could see France from like our town, like just across the lake was France.
Wow.
Um, Absolutely stunning. My girlfriend, you remember Maddie Gorman? You remember Maddie, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're still going strong.
There you
She
go.
came over and visited last year, and we got to go on like a nice little Swiss vacation. Took her to like some hot springs. Traveled to like Luzerne. We went to Zurich for a night. So yeah, Switzerland's a beautiful, beautiful country.
So you were
Beautiful
able to
country.
be a tourist too, in addition
Oh
to
yeah,
playing ball over there.
oh yeah. That's kind of like the one of the nice things about this is like when we have a day off or a couple of days off, do whatever you want.
Right.
So you could spend that time recovering and laying in bed, and when you practice 2 times a week or 2 times a day, 5 days a week, and have a game at least once a week. Normally, that seventh day, you want to sleep in a little bit,
Right.
but every so often you resist that temptation. You can go out and do some stuff. Christmas time was spectacular in Switzerland with all the
Despite the back
Christmas
injury.
buildings. Despite the back injury, yep, despite the back injury, um, Christmas time was great with all the Christmas villages and stuff like that. When I was in Holland, I was like an hour from Amsterdam,
Oh
which
boy.
was I spent New Year's in Amsterdam. That was pretty wild. And then they have it's called King's Day. It's basically like Fourth of July for us, but
Right.
it's like their national holiday. I spent that in Amsterdam, and a couple of my friends from home actually flew over for like a week or two and stayed with me, and I got to celebrate with them. That was a different type of experience as well. So yeah, I've definitely had my tourist times. Um, that's part of the thing that stinks now with this pandemic is like that kind of got taken away from me. I'm 3 hours from France or from Paris, and I haven't had the chance to go just because they don't want us going into France.
Really?
Yeah,
So I was actually
yeah,
going to ask, you're now in Luxembourg. What I know
hmm
it's a very small country.
very small.
Um, are you allowed to leave the country and travel around, or are you kind of confined due to COVID restrictions to Luxembourg and its maybe surrounding spots?
Yeah. So I'm actually like 10 minutes from the French border right now. Still have never set foot on. I still have not set foot on French soil in my life. I could see France from my old town of Vevey across the lake, and I'm now 10 minutes from the border here in Luxembourg. Still have never been to France. We're not really supposed to leave the country. I know like Rashid's in Germany right now, like 2.5 hours away from me, and I think technically speaking, if I was to try to go visit him, I would have to like let the German authorities know, quarantine for 10 days, and then when you enter the country, you have to do the quarantine stuff again. And for me to go visit him for a weekend, that's just not
It's a
not
3 week
really.
process. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really haven't tried to do too much. I don't really think there is much to do. And then like even if I was to go visit like Rashid in Germany, everything's closed down by him too. Right now there's a curfew in effect. You're not allowed to be on the roads past 11. No restaurants
Really?
are open. Yeah, no restaurants, nothing. So there's really not much to do anyways. No clubs, nothing. So yeah.
So, in regards to the vaccine, are you able to get it in Luxembourg, or do you have to come home to get it?
I might be if I'm here long enough, I might be able to get it pretty soon, actually. So
Really?
obviously, I want to be first in line to get it. Um, but if I'm here all the way through May, there's a pretty strong chance that I could actually get the vaccine. Yeah.
And how are they handling it? Obviously, strict restrictions in terms of leaving the country, but how is Luxembourg handling it in regards to athletics?
So right now we have no spectators. No spectators are allowed in the gyms. We have to get COVID tested 2 days before every game. We get tested. So I'm getting tested every week, basically. Um, let's see what else. You have to wear your masks all the time. They're doing that thing where like the bench seats are separated, like they're not like staggered and stuff.
Right.
No handshakes with the referees and things like that. What else they got going on? A couple of the gyms are shut down right now. So like the gym that's like our weight room area
Mhm.
in our facility is actually closed right now. So
Really?
so I found another gym about 20-25 minutes from me that is open. It's just a regular civilian gym, like people just go there. So I actually had to sign up for that gym just to be
Oh.
able to get my weights in every day. Um,
So
so like
weightlifting
different
isn't
places.
a team sponsored thing over there?
It is, but right now the gym that sponsors us, because we have this like in our facility, there's like a handball court, there's basketball courts, there's a swimming pool. It's like a big sports complex, right? And in that is like a really high end gym, and it's closed down. So there's certain restrictions gyms have to follow to open up, and I guess they don't want to or they can't fulfill those requirements. So therefore, they have stayed closed down. So I
Interesting.
had to find another one. Yeah, so I had to go find another gym.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy
So
world we live in right now.
it's pretty much looking like kind of what American basketball is looking like in terms of COVID protocols.
Yeah, pretty similar. Pretty similar. I think the NBA players are getting tested like daily.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we only get tested 2 days before the game, so that if a test does come back positive, you have a chance to retest, in case it was like a false negative or something like that,
Right.
or
You get
false
like a
positive.
rapid test.
Yeah. So it's like a rapid 15-minute test. So you take the test, then you gotta go back and sit in the gym for like 15 minutes, and then they'll walk out and tell you, all right, you're good, you can go home. So yeah, it's a whole
Crazy, man.
process.
In
Yeah.
in all your years of playing basketball, did you ever think you'd be playing professional basketball with no fans?
No, yeah, no. Never thought I'd be playing professional basketball. And then definitely this whole pandemic thing, like never would have seen this coming in a million
No,
years. You know,
no
it's
chance.
pretty wild.
I mean,
And
you're having a great year, man, too, despite the
yeah,
pandemic.
like I said, I'm feeling really good. I had a pretty strong off season with my back injury and rehabbing that, and I got over here and I was feeling pretty good. And yeah, I'm just playing hard, playing physical, just trying to prove that I'm healthy and that I'm definitely capable of getting on to bigger and better clubs when my number gets called.
I mean, you're averaging a double double, man. That's impressive, no matter who you are, no matter what league you're
Yeah,
in. 10.2
appreciate it.
rebounds a game, 2.4 assists per game, two steals a game,
Yes, sir. Long on.
25.6 points per game.
Yeah.
You hadn't averaged a steal a game at all in Europe until this year. What's up with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we're just kind of like reading the defense and stuff like that. Keeping your arms high, keeping your arms out wide. Um, I'm just starting to get, every year I feel like I get a little bit smarter at the basketball game, and just seeing things pretty well. And I don't know, I don't. There's no technical adjustment I made. I guess I'm just getting lucky here and
Just
there.
getting in the way.
Yeah. Keeping those
All
arms
right.
up.
All right, enough about the Europe stuff. Let's bring it back stateside. Let's go back to East Stroudsburg a little bit.
Go
'Cause
Warriors.
I know you love talking about your Warriors.
Oh yeah, glory days.
Oh yeah, 17-18 season. That was your last year.
Yes, sir.
If I give you a date, do you think you can remember that date? It's related to that season.
Okay.
March 4th,
Possibly.
2018.
March 4th, 2018. We won the PSACs that day.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
You were named
Yep.
PSAC tournament MVP as well.
Mm-hmm. Had a good one.
That was your second PSAC championship, right? Yours.
It was my freshman year. We went 30-2 and broke a bunch of records and everything. I was not as crucial of a player on the team, but I was on the team. And yeah, I have 2 PSAC championships, 3 PSAC East championships, I think. Maybe 4? Nah, 3. Definitely only 3. So yeah, we had a nice little run while I was there, for
Yeah,
sure.
you were the top scorer on the team that ranked 4th in Division II in scoring at 92 points per game.
Yeah. Yep.
What is something like that? Obviously, the high of a PSAC title, and then going on to play in the NCAA tournament, Division II.
Yeah.
You guys made it to the Elite Eight,
Yeah. That was
which
cool.
I remember very vividly because in the field house in Stroudsburg, they set up 2 giant screens and projectors,
Okay.
only facing one side. The field house was packed, dude.
Really?
Packed. Everyone was like, obviously they had like little sections where people weren't sitting, whatever. But it almost felt like a regular game day.
Oh, that's so cool.
I
I
don't know
didn't
if
know
you ever
that.
knew that. Yeah,
No, I know I didn't.
everyone kind of shuffled in and out. Everyone was watching, wondering what the score was because East Stroudsburg's a basketball school, man. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to a basketball school, and obviously you were a big man on campus, what was that like?
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. One of the things I kind of actually liked the most about my Stroudsburg experience was I wasn't always the big man on campus. I kind of played every role along the way. My freshman year, bench warmer. Uh, I would play I think I averaged probably 4 minutes a game. Thank goodness ESU plays 10 deep. So I would get a rotation or 2 in the first half, maybe in the second half. And if we were up 20, towards the end of the game, I'd get thrown in there too. Sophomore year, I actually started as a sophomore for the first half of the season, and then lost my starting role. So I was kind of a role player, a firm role player in our rotation. My junior year definitely took more of a commanding role. I was probably the second or third, fourth best player on our team, or best option on our team. And then I took my redshirt year, and then my senior year, I was kind of like you said, our main option for the most part. So one of the things I kind of like the most and definitely appreciate the most is the fact that I got to see it from every angle. I really did work my way from the 15th seat on the bench all the
Right.
way up to a firm starter. So I definitely appreciate that, and I think in the long run that will help me out too, because I have a better perspective of what each person on the team goes through. If you're a starter your entire life, and if you're the main guy your entire life, it's harder to empathize with someone who is struggling for a couple minutes on the end of the bench. But I've been there, you know. So I kind of always really appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, it was first of all that last season was fun for everyone involved, including the broadcasters, as I can say confidently.
You
You
and Shane up
actually,
there,
I mean, it was so for that game, it was me and Brian Bingaman.
right? Okay.
And
Yep.
then Shane actually was the play-by-play guy for my first basketball broadcast ever. That was your redshirt year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was a game against Concordia. Um, and so Shane was the play-by-play guy for that. I kind of did play-by-play for that year. And you were my inside guy, man. I appreciate the hell out of that.
Yeah. We had
um,
class today.
hell yeah. Shout out to Marina.
Oh yeah.
She's the best. But in that PSAC tournament, ESU hosted it, which obviously gave me the opportunity to call and you a chance to win on the home court. I think in the
Mhm.
title game, you scored your 1,000th point.
Yeah.
What's it like knowing 1,000 points? That's kind of a big thing in college ball, or at least D2
Yeah.
ball even. What's that
Mhm.
like? Is it a
That was
celebration or?
Yeah, that was definitely special for me. Um, like I said, when I came in, they were like, like the ESU greats that like I really looked up to, like Matt Tobin, Wis Grant, TK, who's playing in Japan right now, Dwayne Johnson, who I actually played this Wednesday. He's in
Oh,
Luxembourg
really?
right now with me too. Yeah. Like Rashid, obviously, like one of my best friends. Jamal Nawanamika, Will Brown, like the list goes on and on of all these guys I really looked up to. So for me to be able to be in that 1,000 point club, and for people to kind of group me in with those types of players was really really special for me. And like I said, I didn't have the most traditional route to becoming one of the best, like the top dog, as you say.
Right.
Um, I really had to earn my stripes. I failed a lot along the way, um, both on the court and off the court. I definitely wasn't the easiest guy for Coach Wilson to deal with. Um, and I had all those injuries. Is when I had my fake. I always call it my fake senior year, my redshirt senior year. I had to drop out. I had to go back home. I had messed up ankles, so I couldn't play basketball still. The only thing I could really do was just like lift weights. And all my friends were back in college. I had to get a job at the pizza store down the street serving pizzas as a waiter. So it was definitely a humbling experience for me, and definitely got my mind focused back on. I'm like, okay, like you're not there to party and socialize and enjoy college. You're there to get my degree, finish that out strong, and my goal was to play basketball. And at that point in my life, I was kind of seeing that the professional route I could do if I had a strong senior year. So at that moment, when I scored my 1,000th point and we won the PSAC tournament on my home floor, um, with all my friends, all my teammates and everything like that, it was it was a culmination of a lot of hard work, and a lot of sacrifices I had to make along the way. Um, and when it pays off in such a special moment like that, it really makes it worth it, and it really touches home. So
Something
it
you
was
always look
pretty
back
special.
on, huh?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I could take my kids back to Stroudsburg one day, and my name will be in the rafters.
There
So
you go.
that's something that's really special for me.
You mentioned your fake senior year.
Yeah, yeah,
What was the exact injury that you had to apply for the medical red shirt?
yeah. So towards the end of my junior year, I had a bunch of ankle problems, right? And I kept tweaking them. And then in spring ball, I twisted my ankle, sprained my ankle, went out. I think it was I forget which at this point I forget which one it was, either my left one or my right one. And I kept over the course of summer, I kept spraining the opposite ankle I was rehabbing. So I would rehab my right ankle, I'd sprain my left one. I'd rehab my left ankle, I'd sprain my right one, and it kept happening. And it happened 7 times over the course of like 18 months. So finally, it was the day before a sixth game of my fake senior year, and the day before I landed on Michael Weiss's foot on a layup and rolled my ankle again, and that was the seventh one. I rolled the seventh time, and I took the medical red shirt. The crazy thing about it too is like this is why I always think it was like almost like fate. If I would have played that sixth game, I would have been past the threshold for the red shirts, because it's like you can
Really?
only play yeah, it's like a certain percentage of games. So if I would have played one more game, I would have been past the threshold, and I would have had that going through like the special permission kind of stuff and like all that, like things that I could have gotten denied for. Um, so it just kept happening. I wear these really big, thick, clunky, like Steph Curry ankle braces now to this day. Every time I play basketball, because I don't risk it anymore. But looking back on it, man, it was one of the best things that happened to me, because, like I said, I had to drop out of school. I went home. I started taking my weightlifting much more seriously. I took my diet much more seriously, and then my entire mindset shifted. I took just the whole of life much more seriously. I cut out a lot of a lot of the partying and the drinking and all the other stuff, and I got really focused in on like, okay, these are my goals. This is what I need to do to accomplish my goals. Um, if I found things that would detract from me being able to accomplish those goals, I would just cut them out without even thinking about it. So, it really, really humbled me, really got me on my mind focused, and it ended up setting me up for the rest of my career. And, it was kind of part of the reason why I'm sitting here today talking to you
There you go.
from the other side of the pond.
Fucking Luxembourg of all places.
Yeah, right. Who would've thought? I didn't know this place was here a couple years ago.
Man,
Yeah.
it's crazy when you think about all the bumps in the road and all the. I'm actually reading Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. He describes
Cool.
green lights
Okay.
as things you go through that are like, it's like I guess go. It's all systems go. It's positivity. All the red
Mhm.
lights you have to go through that stop at, and things that kind of humble you and knock you down, just to get to those
Yeah.
green lights, as he says.
Interesting.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about. It was just a tweaked ankle, right? What it was, really sprained ankle.
Yeah, they were sprained. So the good news is at this point in my life, I've basically ripped up all the ligaments in my ankles, so I can't really sprain them that bad anymore. So there's like when you basically like a sprained ankle means like your ligament ripped, right? So I've ripped up my ankle ligaments so badly now that there's not much worse I can do.
Is
So
this a
it's
selling point to these European teams? Hey, listen, my
yeah,
ankles,
right?
they're fucked, but they won't get any worse.
Yeah, the ankles are fine. The ankles are fine. I haven't. That's funny. I haven't had any ankle problems. Oh boy, knock on wood. I haven't had an ankle problem since my fake senior year. I kind of got them taken care of.
So
So
that's always a good thing to say, be thankful for is your health and all that stuff. And obviously, being in Europe during a pandemic or being anywhere during this pandemic, health is a
yeah.
big priority. And hopefully you've been staying safe, right? I'm guessing,
Oh yeah.
just doing everything you
I am.
can.
I think I'm like 14 for 14 on COVID tests so far this pandemic. Knock
Yeah,
on wood
there you
again.
go.
Just keep blowing through them.
There
Doing
you
all right so far.
go.
Yeah.
One other thing in regards to your East Stroudsburg career, did you know that you were the all-time leader in field goal percentage at East Stroudsburg?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually do know that. Yeah. It's Ryan Crouching used to give me crap for that all the time.
Really?
Because he goes, all you do is dunk the ball. Of course you have a high field goal percentage. All you do is dunk. Because he was a 3-point shooter.
Yep.
So for him, shooting 40% is phenomenal. But for me, shooting 40% would be horrible.
Right.
So I always used to give him crap, and he would always give it right back to me. So yeah, I am aware. I think Michael Weiss actually shattered my season field goal percentage record the very
Really?
next year I left.
What
Yep.
was what was yours? It was
I think I
six,
shot like
66, right?
66%,
Yep.
66, and then my career I think I was like 64 maybe.
Yep. 63.8. Yep. I have it up here.
Well, yeah.
We were also tied for first all-time postseason games at East Stroudsburg.
Oh really? I didn't know that one.
15.
Who am I tied with?
Uh, don't actually have that information in front of me. I just
If I had to, if I had to
tied
guess, it'd probably
first.
be like one.
But yeah. So does coaching ever
Okay.
cross your mind? Coming back to the States when you're done in Europe, obviously, after a nice
Yeah.
long career, coaching, does that ever come to your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I've had I've been pretty blessed. My high school coach was really good, really good. And then I went to Stroudsburg, and Coach Wilson is top notch, man. The way he runs his program, the way he runs his practices, his mentality, and it's funny too because like as soon as I left, like you start to understand why he does things the way he does. Um, and then coming over here to Europe, um, definitely different, very drastically different styles of coaching in some of the places I've been. Um, and seeing that it's coaching has definitely crossed my mind. Um, it's one of those things that is always in the back of my head. So like while we're doing things, um, I'll think about what I like as a player versus what I don't like as a player. I'll think it back to like what I appreciated coaches would do versus what like coaches will do that I'm not a fan of. Um, so I'm definitely kind of taking mental notes there about what I would do when that day comes if I ever want to coach. It could be as simple as high school basketball, right? Um, I'm not necessarily saying I'm gonna come out and go for like a Division 1 coaching job, but
Right.
like if I could definitely see myself getting into some form of coaching, especially if I have kids when I'm older. Um, so yeah, it's definitely in the back of my mind, man. I'll be honest.
That's where that communications degree comes in handy, huh?
Yeah. I actually just got my master's degree too in this thing called athletic leadership, which is like it kind of goes along with Division One coaching, athletic administration, and sports
Interesting.
psychology. So yeah, so it was really fascinating. I got it from Ryder. My mom really pushed me into it. I did it all online. I did it while I was over here in Holland and Switzerland, and it really shows you like it shows you the other side of it. So like I said, like coaching, sports psychology, um, you know,
Interesting.
athletic administration. If I ever wanted to take that route instead of coaching, so that's kind of where my vision is at this moment, is going somewhere down that path.
There you go. That sounds fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
So
let's hope.
yeah. So obviously, I'd be a fool if I didn't mention this. You have your Knicks hoodie on. The Knicks
Fifth and
are
East, baby.
that's in the East. Are you
Let's
able to
go.
even? Are you able
Oh yeah.
to keep up with the Knicks over there? Are you able to watch the games because of the time difference and everything like that?
So I have this problem right now where I try to fall asleep to the Knicks games because they'll start
Oh
at like like
God.
1 a.m., 2 a.m. Um, and there's been a few times already that I'll end up staying up to like 4 or 5 in the morning and then just being exhausted the next day, like just gassed, right? Just to watch the Knicks lose at the buzzer. It's happened multiple times this year so
We've all
far.
been there.
Yeah. So I do get to watch a decent bit of them, especially if I have like off the next day, or like I have my mornings free. And like my first workout isn't normally until I don't have to wake up till like 10 a.m. For my first workout over here. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm not gonna
This
lie.
sounds like the
So
fucking life, man.
yeah, it's not bad, man. You got workout like early, like late morning, early afternoon, hang out for a couple hours, go back to practice at night. It's not too bad.
They come home, fall asleep to the
Um,
next game.
and go home, fall asleep the next game. And so it's tough because like I'll try to fall asleep. I really do try to fall asleep, and I just can't because I'm just like invested, and like we're actually kind of good this year. So
You
it's
can
like
say
how do
that,
you
yeah.
start it off, you know?
It's
So I do get to watch a bit. Do get to watch a bit.
you kind of keep up with your boy Tyler, his tweets and everything. Then said, is that how you kind of keep up
Oh,
to date on things?
absolutely. I still talk to Tyler every day. Um, he cracks me up, man. Cracks up. He got me into sports betting a little bit when I was home.
Had
Remember
a
Jakeem
feeling.
too? Remember Jakeem Rice, Mother
Yep.
boy? Yeah, Jakeem Tyler and I, like the two of them, got me in the sports gambling pretty bad when I was home for the season shut down here. Quick side note, and I got to go home from November 14th through January 14th. So I got like
Yeah, I
two
remember
months
you were
at
home
home.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, right through the holidays, which kind of ended up being awesome. I didn't get paid obviously, because I was the season wasn't going on, but I kind of got like an extended 2 month vacation for like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So it was kind of great, honestly.
What was the reason for the
Um,
shutdown?
Things got shut down in Luxembourg, so the
Really?
numbers spiked really high, and they like shut the schools down. They shut basketball down. Um,
And they just sent you home.
and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna send you home." So my contract actually got cut at that moment. I was an unrestricted free agent. The club told me if they do open back up, they'll bring me back in for the same terms we agreed upon and everything. Um, so kind of looked around a little bit, but the market wasn't too hot at that point because the virus was spiking in Europe a lot. So a lot of teams were either not bringing players in, or leagues were like kind of like about to shut down. So I kind of just stayed put and then decided to come back here and finish out the year here. Um, but yeah, when I was home for those 2 months, those two, Tyler and Jakeem, they got me into the sports gambling pretty big. I had a good time.
Oh man, that's a dangerous road to go down, though.
It was. I kind of got in, like, dipped my toe in the water and then got out before it was, kind of bad. Yeah, I actually came out on the positive side, believe it or not.
There you go.
Um, I don't really, because I didn't bet that much. I wasn't betting every game. I would basically
Right.
I bet the Giants games. I bet like the Christmas Day games, which went fantastic because they were all blowouts. Um, so it was kind of nice.
and you got to be home, enjoy your winnings.
Yep.
That's one way.
Yep.
That's one way to supplement an income when you're not getting paid.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You'll
It was
actually get a
good.
kick out of this too. Is so obviously Tyler is the executive producer on a podcast,
Hmm.
and one of the guys that I do take a pitch with
Okay.
listens to the podcast religiously and follows Tyler on Twitter. And I see him
Funny.
retweet onto my timeline, and I go, "How did you follow him?" Tell me a story, and I go, "He's like, how do you know?" I'm like, "I went to college with him, and him and Steve Harris always together. You didn't see one without the other."
Yep.
So I went
We-
to the legend of Steve Harris at East Stroudsburg,
Oh boy.
and
Yeah,
but
he
dude, you
was.
guys were always
We
always
were
together.
roommates. Well, he lived like we lived like 20 minutes away from each other back home in Jersey.
Oh, really?
Um, like yeah, like him, Jakeem, and I, like we all went to high school together. Tyler actually transferred out, and went to a different high school, but we kind of kept in touch. Um, and then we all went to the same college together, so we were already friends coming in. And then Tyler and I were roommates. Um, like every single interest I have, Tyler also has. He taught me how to play golf this summer,
Oh boy.
actually.
Oh boy.
So he started bringing me golfing with him this summer, which was phenomenal. Love golf now, big golf guy. Terrible at it, but it's so much fun. Um,
It
so yeah, like
happens.
we were roommates and stuff. We were both communications majors, so we had all the same
Hmm.
classes.
Yeah, like I
So
said,
yeah,
I don't think I ever saw the two of you apart unless you were on the court.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
He
think so.
funny story
In the
about
same
that
classes
too
too.
is oh yeah, yeah, same major.
Yep.
Funny thing about that too is I my fake senior year. I was like, yo, bro, come on. Like you're always with us anyways. You know everybody on the team. You know Coach Wilson. Like, it'll be a good resume thing. Like, just be our team manager. And he didn't want to do it because he thought we were gonna like peg him with basketballs and be like, boo, like you're the manager, like and like not respect him, you know what I mean?
I've been there.
Uh
Trust me, I know it all too well.
yeah. It never happened. Like everyone knew Tyler, so like everyone loved him.
Right.
But then I got hurt and dropped out and went home. So
He
like
was
he
left him
was
high and
literally
dry out there.
yeah, like thank God, he knew Josh too, because Josh, remember Josh, right? Josh
Yep.
Williams, he went to Notre
Yep.
Dame with me. He knew Josh. He knew like he was roommates with Ryan and I. So like Raleigh, like he knew all of us, thankfully. But like I convinced him to be the manager so we could hang out more. And then I got hurt and dropped out. Yeah, so
And Josh
yeah,
actually signed with Den Helder this year, right?
he did. He did. He
Did he talk to you
last year.
about that or last year?
Yeah. So we were the agents I signed with coming out of college. When I was finished, when I was over in Den Helder, they would hit me up and they say, "Hey man, this Josh Williams kid at ESU, like, do you think he can play European basketball? Do you think he'd be interested?" I was like, "Oh yeah, he's interested and absolutely he can play." So he ended up signing with the same agents I signed with coming out of college, and so they just put him in the same team that I was on. Um, because that's like the thing about the Den Helder Suns. Great organization, love, very great people, nice people, very community based organization. Very low budget though, so they're kind of just up and coming, just started up. Like when I was there, it was only like their second or third year like
Oh, really?
of existence. Yeah, brand new club. So since they were a small budget, they would use a lot of youth players, like I was talking about, and they would get guys coming fresh out of college because we're cheap. We'll take any job to get our foot in the door. So they kind of just put Josh in that same situation, get his foot in the door, get some good numbers, and yeah. So he was also a Den Helder son for a little bit there.
Is he still over
Yeah.
in Europe or no?
Right now he's still at home. He just had a kid. He has a baby boy, baby Rain, adorable. So he kind of like with the pandemic and everything going on right now, I think he kind of chose to kind of like stay home this year and help out with like the his
Right.
newborn baby. But yeah, he's still looking to go back over. I know that he's still working out daily. He's still a bucket.
Was that ever an option for you staying home during the pandemic?
For me, not as much. Um, I kind of knew, especially with my back injury, that if I took a year off, that could be kind of like the death sentence for me.
Mm.
Um, I never wanted to stop playing. A lot of the teams I talked to this past summer, like my agents would express the concerns they had with me was just my health. Is he, a back injury can be a pretty serious thing. How do we know he's healthy? All those kind of things. I had clubs ask me for workout videos. I had to send them videos of me working out to prove that I'm healthy, which is tough to do during a pandemic because, you know,
Gyms are
I actually
closed
had
and everything.
yeah, I had a trainer who found like a gym, and he would bring us in, and we would go and work out with him and stuff like that. And like we weren't, it was like secretive, like we weren't supposed to
So
really
some
talk about
backdoor
it.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was like this warehouse complex that if you were driving by, you would never know there was a basketball court inside. And so he
Really?
would bring, like, he'd bring in like me and a bunch of other pros who played around, like various different places. Um, and we'd go and we'd work out at like 6 a.m. in the morning to like 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in the morning. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, that was just like the way I would try to keep in shape because there were no summer leagues this year. There weren't no summer leagues. You couldn't go to like a Lifetime Fitness and go shoot hoops.
Right.
Even the outdoor courts, they took the rims off the outdoor courts. Yeah, like
What?
crazy stuff like that. Swear to God, you'd go to like an outdoor park in like Jersey and stuff, and they'd either have like construction tape over the because remember like they even closed down parks at one point.
Yeah.
Like remember the pandemic got that crazy? Yeah. So they would take the rims off the hoops so that you
That's
couldn't play basketball.
absurd.
Yeah. So like I would just like work out my driveway and stuff. Like I was back in high school, and like things like that. So this summer was definitely challenging for me to stay in shape and keep in shape. I had to do a bunch of other things besides basketball to stay in basketball shape.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. If you could bring back to the States one thing from Europe, whether it's an aspect of basketball, the food, which you could probably find somewhere here, or just the
Yeah.
culture that is, what is the one thing you'd bring back to the States?
Ooh, what would I bring back? That's a good question, Max. What would I bring back?
3 years in, it's got to be at least one or two things, I'm sure.
This is really random, and it's probably
Okay.
going to sound pretty significant.
Yeah.
The chocolate milk in Europe is phenomenal. I can't explain it. Like there's more fat in the milk, and the chocolate's like pure chocolate. It's not like cheap stuff like American chocolate milk. I love chocolate milk, by the way. American chocolate milk I thought was the best, and I got to Europe, and the chocolate milk over here is amazing,
This is straight up
phenomenal.
one of those. Tell me you've lived in Switzerland without telling me you lived in Switzerland.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's straight up
The
what that is right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The chocolate milk is ridiculous. It's really fattening though. It's much more fattening than regular chocolate milk. Um, I go through periods where I have to like cut it out of my diet. Right now I'm cutting it out of my diet, which is tough for me to
Jeez.
do. Um, but yeah, it's so good. It's and everyone who comes over here, I'm like, yo, you gotta get a chocolate milk and try it. And they're like, why? It's chocolate milk. I'm
Like
like,
you get a
just get
burger,
one.
get a chocolate milk.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have to have one. It's so good. So good.
Oh man, I was definitely not expecting anything remotely close to chocolate milk.
Yeah,
Be the
I
answer.
told you it was gonna be a random one. Told you it was gonna be a
Oh
random one.
man. All right. So
Yeah.
other than chocolate milk, what else?
Other than talking about, let's see. People in Europe are just very laid back. Maybe that's more of like a northeastern thing.
Oh, we're always
Um,
uptight.
yeah, we're always like you're always moving, always uptight. Why you're wondering how people are in your business and stuff. But people in Europe are very laid back. Um, for example, today's Sunday, nothing is open. Like you can go to the gas station and get some stuff, but the restaurants aren't open, businesses aren't open, nothing is open, stores aren't open. Um, so it kind of like just like they're very like laid back. People over here will go to restaurants and sit for like hours, whereas like in America, you go to your restaurant, you eat your food, you get out of there in like 40 minutes. Here,
Right.
it's like you go there and you'll sit down and like just like drink tea or drinks, and then for like 40 minutes go by, and then you'll order your food, and then you'll eat, and you'll like people will just sit there. So like it's very it's slower, a little bit slower. I've noticed.
So you're a big
So
fan of that.
I don't know if I'm a fan of it, to be honest, because like there's like the pros and the cons of it. Because like I said, like, I'm hardwired to like be moving quickly and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like I want to get things done. Um, Sometimes like time. is different. Like the Northeast, like if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, and if you're late,
Right.
it's unacceptable. Here it's just like, all right, I'll be there at 2 o'clock. It's like that could be anywhere from 1:30 to 2:30. Like that time frame, they'll just like kind of pop in. So things like that,
Oh man,
definitely a little different. Yeah,
sounds like the South, man. That's crazy.
it is definitely is different.
Chocolate milk and slowing life down a little bit. Those are the two things you bring
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I think so. I think so. It's got its pros for sure.
All right, now I have to go to Europe for chocolate milk.
Yeah,
That's
I
stuck
would
in
bring
my
one
fucking
back.
head too.
I would bring one back, but I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty
I don't think it
long
would drive.
trip. I don't know how long that would hold.
Dude, trust me, when it comes to cutting it out of your diet, trust me. That was me with Wawa iced tea. Because out here on Long Island, we don't have Wawa
Yep.
or anything like that. Wawa
The
iced teas,
half
I lived off
gallon.
that crap.
Oh my god, I used to carry around a half gallon with me all the time.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. I definitely used to do the same thing. Man,
That was that Wawa across the street. Probably Wawa and Philly steaks probably took like thousands of dollars off. If you totaled up from freshman year, the 5 years I was there,
right, you were
it
there
would
for
be a,
5. I was only there for 2. So they probably took a chunk of my money, but
oh my god, it would have been astronomical the amount of money they
oh,
took from me.
oh man. Them Maritas too, even
Oh
the
yeah.
bars out there. Oh dude. Stroudsburg was the
I'll tell you,
time.
that was the nice thing about Stroudsburg is you could go out in Stroudsburg with like $15 on a Saturday night, hit Maritas for some dollar drinks, Philly pub for some Swift kicks. You're good. You know?
Dude, you tell people the story of the Swift kicks, and they're like, "What do you mean it was $2 shots and it got you fucked up?"
Oh my god, they were
Then
great.
you tell them they came from dollar drinks. They're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. I remember my brother came and visited me and he was like, "What is this?" And he came out with all this cash. I'm like, "Bro, you don't need that much money. Just bring 20 bucks and you're good."
You $20.
You know?
You only spend 10 of it. The rest of the other is tip.
Yep, yep. It was great.
Oh
It was great.
man, Stroudsburg was the time. Um, have you been able to experience nightlife in Europe at all,
Yeah. So not this year, obviously.
or last year really either?
Listen, I'll go down. Yeah, last year was a little tough. I got to experience it in the first half of the year. I went drinking with the Serbians. Man, let me tell you, that was an experience. I lost my phone, blacked out, woke up in my bed with my pants on. It was a different experience drinking with Serbians. Let me tell you, that was wild. Amsterdam was nuts. My roommate, so I had an American roommate in Holland for the first half of the year, and then he left and went home to America because he got homesick. And so
Interesting.
they brought in another guy who played on the Dutch national team midway through the year because he was just leaving his team in Spain. He was coming home to finish out the season. So he was my new roommate. Worked out great because he was Dutch, so he knew everything. So like
Yeah.
we would go down to Amsterdam, and his brother would his brother had like an apartment down there, and like we would go clubbing, and it was
Oh
great because like
man.
I wasn't doing touristy things. I was doing like legitimate, like how like the native Dutch would like party, and it was phenomenal. So I've definitely experienced the nightlife. The clubs don't close till like 6, 7, 8 a.m. Yeah, like we would
Damn.
go out at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was pretty nuts.
As opposed to Stroudsburg, where you're just getting back at 1, 2 in the morning.
Exactly. I would tell them that. Like, yeah, like in college, like 1:45, the lights at the bar come on, you go home. They're like, no. I'm like, yeah, that's how it was. They couldn't understand that.
You
So
got to
if
bring
I had to
them.
let me
Yeah,
change my answer from before. If I had to bring something back from Europe, I would bring back the time restrictions on the clubs. We gotta keep bars open till 6 in the morning. They gotta stop closing at 2.
bring something down the bar to a whole new meeting.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That means you're going to AA right after.
Yep, yep. It was great.
Oh man, that's
Yeah, go
crazy.
right in it. Exactly.
Oh jeez, Steve, always a fucking pleasure, man. It really
Well,
is.
thanks for having me on. Good talking to you.
Anytime, man. You're always welcome to join the show if you want. I mean, shit.
Appreciate it.
You want to start a fucking basketball podcast? You let me know.
Yeah.
We can
like
set it
the
up
like
and
the
get that.
Jacob Redick one. Was it yeah, the old man, the three?
Oh yeah, I haven't had. I
Yeah.
listened to one episode, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those ones.
You listen to
Yep.
podcasts?
All the time. Yeah.
What are your
All
favorites?
time. Yeah. I listen to a lot of basketball podcasts. So I listen to like Old Man the Three with JJ Redick. I listen to All the Smoke, Knuckleheads.
Yep.
Like the basketball ones a lot, and then Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan a lot too.
How can you go
But
wrong with Joe Rogan?
I listen to like the when Joe Rogan brings on like the scientists and like the I don't listen to his pop culture ones. I listen to like when he brings on like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He
The
brought on this guy
thinkers.
like like Forrest Galante. He's like this like wildlife enthusiast. Like I listen to like those kind of guys with Joe Rogan.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you on socials and what's going on with you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah. So my social media right now is the Bounty Bucketeer. So we can add that in. And not much is going on. Still playing. Right now we are 7-1, 2-0 since the restart. We got a big game coming up on Wednesday against BBC La Roche, something like that. I think I got that right. ESU alumni Dwayne Johnson will be playing against me. So that'll be interesting for us. And yeah, just trying to keep the season going.
There you go, man. Listen, wishing you all the best going forward, obviously. And as always, you're always welcome to jump on and you can always catch up and talk.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure, bro.
Great talking to you, Max.
Always a pleasure.
Bye
Stay
bye.
healthy, man.